I really got to discuss this because no one else is really talking about it. And anybody who tries to talk about it, their videos are getting suppressed, they're not getting seen. Uh, but it's a serious topic that it pertains to every human being and it has to be addressed. I do apologize right off the bat if my signal is bad. Now, I have good signal. I've gone and checked it. So I'm not sure what the glitching is. But I can tell you right now, Americans need their jobs. And we are seeing continuous layoffs and automation being put in place or AI put in place. Now, I know that the AI, the chatbots, Gemini, all that is very limited what we get to use. That is not the professional system that is operating our booking systems, our reservation systems, our phone systems, all of that. What I don't like is I am seeing too many videos about young adults who are being tricked into job security. They're being told they got a future, but their future is going nowhere. They train AI and then they are laid off. So this is very disruptive. It's not helpful. It's increasing the homeless population, and this is happening in too many companies. If, excuse me, if Americans don't start fighting back now, soon there will not be jobs. Um, I was traveling back and forth just a few years ago from Texas to Arkansas. I had to do it regularly. However, what was happening when I would stop and go to, say, McDonald's, there was a kiosk and there were two people in the whole store. That's it. Two human beings. Everything else was automated, including my order and payment. Now, at first I thought, well, how convenient. But when I was talking to the young lady who handed me my food, that was her entire job. Uh, she said there were nobody else working there. They didn't need them anymore. And she was lucky to have her job and all she did. And this was in Oklahoma, Oklahoma City. She said there were nobody else. It was two people working in the McDonald's, and that's it. Everything else was automated. She just handed me my food. I paid at a kiosk. Wait a minute. Those were jobs our high school kids used to take so that they could understand how to work in the industries and the demands that would be asked of them on a regular basis, that they had to be able to do repetitive behavior. And your personal life was your personal life. And it was against company policy to even speak about it to customers or to each other. It was to keep arguments over politics, religion, all kinds of things from erupting and disrupting production of a business. So replacing humans with automation just to get rid of that nonsense is why they're doing it. But we need our jobs. And if we don't start fighting for them and acting like they matter, because companies are falsely claiming they're putting up hiring signs and taking in tons of applications, but not hiring anybody. That, that's even happening in my small community. I've seen it happening. Uh, I think because of people in the community calling it out, the businesses have gone back to hiring. Uh, they didn't do, well, they did DEI here, but it was very restricted. Mostly because it's a small community. There wasn't a big DEI appropriate or necessity for it. So, but if we don't, and this was 2 years ago, I went into that McDonald's and it was only 2 employees and the rest of it automated. Right from my burger to my fries, how it was put together, wrapped in the paper, put in the bag. The only thing a human did was hand me my food and say, thank you, have a good day. That's it. My drink, my food. That's it. No other human interaction. I was like, this can't be happening. This can't happen. No. Humans need these jobs. I don't care how small they are. My first business, I cleaned people's toilets. I cleaned their showers. I cleaned their refrigerators. I hand scrubbed floors. Look at me. I'm not an illegal immigrant. I'm an American. And I got paid the same wage as an illegal immigrant. I got $40 for a 5-bedroom house with 2 bathrooms and sometimes a great big lounge basement. And these people wanted to pay me less. But I am hand washing their floors and no, that is not appropriate. It's not appropriate for any immigrant to suffer through. But we needed these jobs. I eventually ended up owning my own cleaning business. And when I left the business, I sold it to my employees. I gave them a chance to carry on jobs for our community. And when I left, we were over 100 strong. Since I've left, DEI has been in there. And I've had thieves. I've had disrupted people assaulting and insulting. I'm not the business owner anymore. And she's like, how do I deal with this? What do I do? I said, if these people are not qualified, do not hire them. And she knows my policy. I don't care if you're black. I don't care if you're purple. I don't care if you're qualified to do the job and you're an American, I'm going to hire you. Because you don't need a whole lot of qualifications to scrub somebody's toilet, to pick up trash, to mop a floor. But what the wealthier people wanted was ridiculous. And if immigrants are going through this, it needs to stop. I'm glad I sold my business. And I'm sure the woman who bought it will most definitely get it sorted out. Because she said she was forced by state whatever in Texas that she had to adhere to DEI. And she ended up with thieves and ridiculous, angry people that were not worth hiring. That's not our threat to jobs, though. Do you know 600 workers from the East Coast, the ports of entry? Do you know, because they did that strike, remember? Well, they got their jobs back, the strike ended, and guess what happened? They tried to go on strike again like idiots. And while they were on strike, all that got replaced with automation. Very, very little human involvement at all. That's 600 jobs gone. All because they got greedy and thought they could demand more than what they had already agreed to. Not good, because it's killing jobs. How many workers who were not for this second strike are now looking at their families going, how do I keep you housed? How do I keep you alive? How do I get you medical care? How do I get you all the things you need? There's no way. And homeless populations are going to continue to grow as long as we don't start fighting back against the automation of our jobs. Look, I was around when they first automated, and that was Ford. And the outcry because of the job losses was enormous. But it was short-lived because they put a few more employees back on the job. This is happening in massive numbers now. Humongous businesses that want to go completely automated and AI operated with very little human intervention is what's going to take us out. And I hate to tell you, but Elon Musk is in the forefront of this replacement. And it shouldn't be. He's not coming up with another job for humans. He's just saying, oh, this is great, accept it. What's so great about my 27-year-old daughter getting laid off from her tech job? What's so great about my 19-year-old grandchild who's looking at training AI and being laid off from his company? What is this? Where is this good? Yes, some of my children are stepchildren that I'm referring to that are young. They're not really stepchildren. They just call me mom and look to me for advice. Yeah. Listen, I care about their futures. I have 13 grandchildren between my 4 existing children. Their future is looking very bleak unless we humans come up with a way that we can be included in the new workforce. AI can operate any computer system that humans used to sit at for 8 hours a day and do it for 2 hours and be done with the tasks. We are being replaced from our simplest jobs right up to our biggest jobs. And nobody is wanting to stop it, and that's terrifying. How are you going to live? I've watched in the last week probably 1,000 videos of people from 18 to about 30 going, wow, I just got laid off. What am I going to do? How am I going to pay next month's rent? How am I going to eat? I just ate my last pack of ramen noodles. This is all over TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Yet, we're not doing anything to stop it. Over a year ago, I started saying we were going to need an act of Congress to be able to work. And we are there. Soon, you will need an act of Congress just to be able to work. And if we go by Elon Musk, you better have all kinds of scientific degrees or technological degrees that go well beyond the creation of AI. And if you don't have that, you're pretty much worthless. So I'm watching these young people with families, some single, sitting in their cars going, what am I going to do? What do? You start writing your governors, because that's going to be who speaks to your Senate in your state. You start writing your governors, and you start demanding that companies be regulated about the automation and AI consuming 100% of the jobs. They still want you to buy stuff, but with what money? It's a cruel death to die by starvation and homelessness. I've been close to it myself. So I don't want to see anybody going through it. But if you're not going to write your governors in every single state and demand that limitations be put on automation and AI and all robotics, while humans be allowed to have jobs. This is what it's going to take. Now, I tried to put up 2 videos, and YouTube decided it was going to oppress them and not let them get out to be seen, asking which needs jobs the most, AI or humans? Which needs the jobs the most? AI doesn't need a job at all. Humanity does. And if you listen to some of these rants from these wealthy tech billionaires, they're determined you're gone. Why? You're temperamental. Why? It's not even the insurance cost to insure you. I mean, they're bitching about the cost of it too, but that's not the problem. The problem is coming into work with your phone out, recording your job. Now, granted, when I was working, we didn't have the technology to do that kind of thing. But anybody who thinks it's appropriate to get on their phones during their work hours and complain about a job deserves to have no job. Now, if you're going to be out there putting out videos of how great your job is, I bet you they won't complain. But when was the last time any of you did that? You've got to think about this from a different view. You're thinking about it from a personal view. You got to stop that. You got to start thinking in a corporate business mind. Every job requires for you to have that intelligence. It's vital. Because if they got to hire a cashier who's going to be attacking customers over a pronoun or a political party, that employee is a risk. I would fire them on site. They're killing my business. My business is not designated to one politician, oath to some billionaire at all. Mine is for you to be able to get service, whether it's food, whether it's a laundry service, a cleaning service. I don't care. And Americans, we used to all do those jobs. I am so sick of hearing Americans don't do those jobs. Well, with all the layoffs, how much you want to bet me they will do those jobs? My son does. My daughter does. They do those jobs. They work their tail off for low pay to help their family survive. They shouldn't have to do that. But in order for them to balance out, things have to become cheaper. Not get paid more. Things have to get cheaper. Back down to where it balances out. And until people do that, we're not going to get anywhere with our economy except watching it sink. I don't know how many people think the president is this magical being, that he's like a mystical unicorn. He's not. He's a human being who believes in your freedom and he believes in your rights. But he is being misled when it comes to AI. And the one who opened the door for that invasion, if you ask me, was Elon Musk. But now he's backed out. Now, with that push for AI, they want to take away the value of your money. Bitcoin, garbage, total garbage. Look, I tried it. It was a farce. I lost money. Wasn't worth. When I put in $20 or $30 every time and I'm losing money, then it's a scam. Buy. And when I checked into what it was backed by, I was blown away. Anybody would push this garbage. I can't believe that people will say, okay, I'll accept a Bitcoin that is backed by only the hot air out of a corporate hot balloon. Has no value whatsoever. These places, when they build these big mining camps for Bitcoin, it's a drain on the community's resources, does not give anything into the community, it's not beneficial, and they are noisy, and they run 24/7 on people's electric grids and divert water to their plants for their cooling for the computer systems. Granted, the computer systems have gotten a lot smaller, but now there's 10 times more. And this is all not based on anything. And then last month, Forbes turns around and says, guess what? There's going to come a point where there's only one Bitcoin left to be mined. Your Bitcoin will have no value. So if you own $60 million worth of Bitcoin, you better get your cash now, because it won't be there when you go to claim it, when there's no Bitcoin left to mine. There are only so many different number fields they can put together. There are limits. I don't know what they are, and I'm sure they're going to try to expand it, but it's a worthless program. It is not worth what it takes to operate them. All right, Elon Musk, you and I got to talk about these data centers, because you are a big supporter of them. I have watched a whole lot of your video clips and everything else. Some of it you could definitely tell is BS. Not you. It's AI generated garbage. However, where I can find the real clips of you, they're quite interesting and very telling. Now, I do think that you are a genius when it comes to space technology and advancement. What I don't like about you is you're lacking your humanity. You love playing out to the people that the way you're funding your Rocket Man machine is through AI and robotics. What is AI being used to do? What are robotics being used to do? Replace our jobs. And everybody says, well, they'll never replace us. Who will buy their stuff? Nobody. And they'll quit making it and use the robots for other intentions. Listen, it's pretty easy to take the old-fashioned math of 1 plus 1 and equals 2. That still works. I don't care what garbage science says. Works in everything, in nature and, humanity. But AI and humanity is AI minus humanity. Because that's the math equation we're looking at. And you can say, it's a conspiracy theory. No. Just ask these 750,000 tech people laid off 3 months ago. Just ask the thousands of people on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube saying, I trained AI to take my job. It's not a conspiracy anymore. A conspiracy is only a conspiracy until it isn't. So you might feel uncomfortable about it. That's okay. You should. It's your livelihood on the line. You should actually feel very, very uncomfortable about it. I do. And I couldn't go back out in the workforce if I wanted to. But I have many, many, many family members desperately looking for work. You can do like the government tells you. Don't believe your eyes. They're lying to you. Your eyes are lying to you. Or you can believe your eyes and believe the layoffs are real and believe that those people are never going to go back to work at those companies. They're not going to get called back. It's not a temporary layoff. It's a permanent layoff. 750,000 jobs for high-tech jobs. Gone. Bye. Humans need our jobs. We need them to survive. It's not a matter of having what you like my pretty nail polish I've had for 3 years now. And very rarely wear, but I just thought it would be nice to do something cheerful. But your jobs matter. They are everything. You want to know why your parents were miserable? Because they worked all the time. You want to know why you're miserable? Because you can't find a job. It goes from one extreme to the other. Humanity is being left out. And we have spent so many billions of dollars on protecting the extinction of other species. But we can't even get people to talk about our own. And I don't care where you live. You can't deny the homeless population is overwhelming. You can't deny that people are starving. And you can't deny that there is nowhere to go to stop it. A lot of the homeless on the streets today, they're not druggies yet. But when they can't get a hold of food and all they can get a hold of is drugs, that's what they're going to do because their instinct to survive is kicked in. You'll take whatever you can get, no matter how small the scraps. Humanity deserves better than scraps. And there have been many revolutions throughout all history showing that to be a belief that goes back thousands and thousands of years. Humans deserve better than scraps. And only a few who have more than scraps, they see themselves like some kind of gods. And they're not. They stub their toe, it hurts. They bump their head, they bruise. They're as human as you and I. They've just lost their humanity to greed. So, I don't know how long I should try to talk to people because I really don't know if people are willing to address this issue. It's so important. Why doesn't anybody want to talk about it? Are you afraid to talk about it? Are you, like me, fighting with YouTube to keep from being censored? Because you want to talk about our right to work, our jobs? I hope not. I hope not. I love my country and I'm really happy to see the changes that are coming. But some of the wasps imitating bees are getting into the president's ears, and it's dangerous for us all. And I'm glad Trump is there to fight for us. But we got to help him, and we got to continue to fight for ourselves. Our jobs matter. Our families matter. Humans need to matter. I don't care. The gender wars are ridiculous and redundant. The race wars, the same. Ridiculous and redundant. Just a bunch of kids crying out for attention from anybody who will give it to them. That's all that is. And it's been around for way longer than just my family's generations. Okay? Rebellious kids are angry kids because they don't like the way things are. And instead of changing it to make it better for everybody, they get self-absorbed. Now I'm tired of seeing that. Americans, we didn't used to be self-absorbed. We used to be pretty fundamental. You know, you went to work, you earned a living, you bought a house, you raised your children, you educated your children, and they did the same thing as you. Because we're well aware there's the only retirement for the human race from that existence is extinction. It's death. Look, as I've gotten older and I can't do as much as I used to, I'm bored with nothing to do. Most of the time I have to make up stuff to do just because I don't have a job that I get up to go to every day anymore. And I did mine. And when there were no jobs available, I found work. I made work for myself. And that's what Americans are going to have to do again. And if we don't do it now, we're going to face a downhill recession that will obliterate a great population of people. And it's not necessary for that kind of depression to hit again. It's not. But it's going to take us demanding jobs. I don't care what kind of jobs are available. We have every right to work. Our families matter. Human lives matter. And I'm telling you now, we need a far greater future to look forward to than the one right before us. So, I wish you the best. Think about these things. Usually in my lives, if I don't get a lot of views during it, nobody ever sees them again. YouTube's pretty good for that. Even with my lives that do really good, nobody ever sees them again. So they don't get put out there. I'm too small of a channel, and I'm too big of a pain in the butt for YouTube because I like freedom of speech. I'm American. What can I say? But I like jobs better than I like all the other garbage I've seen in society today. So where are they? Elon Musk, where are they? With your plants going up, there should be thousands of jobs. But are you going to do like you did in California. Yeah, we're going to get 3,000 jobs. We're opening this, 3,000 jobs. And you did. You kept your word. You hired 3,000 people. And with 6 months, you were down to a few hundred. You didn't promise not to do that, so why not? So where's the jobs, Mr. Musk? You've been saying that your industry is creating jobs. For who? It's definitely not humans. I'm tired of all these elitists who are unevolved, overeducated monkeys throwing feces at the rest of humanity, especially the ones who have evolved and know the difference between right and wrong. And we don't need a religion, we don't need some kind of backing from some alphabet leader to stand up and say, this is wrong. We all have a moral bone. My grandma used to tell me that. My experience in life tells me she's wrong. Not everybody does. But sometimes, now this is metaphorically, please, a good kick in the shins reminds you got a bone. Pick your fights carefully. Let the president deal with security of the country, while we, the people, pick up the pieces and begin to rebuild. And get rid of, clean house. Get rid of governors and mayors that are a danger to our community, danger to our states. And I don't have to name them. We all know who they are. They thrive in the news, so they're not worth my breath. So we need to clean our own houses now before they all get burned down. What happened in Cali was intentional. And the people of California had been putting out videos begging for people to listen. No, you're conspiracy theorists. Oh, wait, it happened. Exactly what they said they would. Now, Arizona's facing the same disasters. They want to say it's climate change. I want to say it's human tampering. No gods. See, in ancient times when they tampered with stuff, it was always the gods. It's not the gods. It's the rich. But here's the thing. Now the rich are saying, well, we're going to pull our industries out. Good. That gives us a chance to start our own manufacturing again. That gives us a chance to demand that all those $1 billion going into our governments go into startup companies. Yeah. There are ways to rebuild. Americans are notorious for rebuilding. We do it often. However, our science, for all its gobbledygook garbage with the AI, has left out the human element. One thing it can never have, the human element. This is the one thing that makes us different. If you live in a flood area, say Florida, in the old days, everybody used to build their houses on pilings, just like they did in Venice. And yeah, I'm sorry, the ocean is rising. There's no argument. But it seems to me that if the rich don't get what they want, what they're going to do is some kind of massive climate change thing that, and we all know the governments, all the governments, I don't care whether you call me a conspiracy theorist or not. I've read enough of this stuff to understand that all these wealthy people who are putting billions of dollars into the science of understanding how to manipulate the weather, they can do it. Don't take much. But it's been done before. Our history shows this is not new. Our governments knew this before. They knew this technology in the past. They just had to find it so they could rebuild it. And now they're still claiming to be gods. Only problem is gods don't bleed, do they? And if a godlike human bumps his nose, his mortality is clear and evident. So they can't be gods. Besides, I know where God is. You know where God is. In your being, right? Everywhere. In your being. They don't have that. They have cut it off. They think humanity is just idiots. Some of us are, yes, absolutely. But some of us have been exposed more to the mind-numbing manipulation of our DNA, whatever you want to call it, through vaccines and whatever else. Gosh, I really do sound like a conspiracy theorist. But it's only a conspiracy until it isn't. And that's where we're at with our jobs. I don't know about you, but putting food on the table is still expensive. I know Trump just got in office, and I'm looking forward to prices coming down. But right now, everything's still running on Bidenomics. So until then, we'll struggle. But people have got to start standing up against the automation of your jobs. Do you really not want to work anymore? Do you really think that there's something better to life than not having a job? You really believe that? Tell your stomach when you're cold. Tell your body shivers to stop if they're not necessary. They won't listen. Your stomach's going to rumble and your body's going to shiver. And that's the future if you don't stand up for your jobs. And I know nobody wants to talk about this issue. They're afraid of it. That's all the more reason to talk about it. All the more reason. Well, all right. I've yacked long enough. I've said my piece. And I'm going to go relax my mind and let you guys figure out how you're going to pay your bills. And figure out what's important. Because our priorities are pretty messed up. The president's doing a great job of getting our government's priorities back in order. I think it's time we do the same. American Granny, out.